Today we're going to be talking about 8 mistakes that all quarterbacks must avoid. We're going to be talking about physical and mental aspects of the position. Now, the first thing you want to avoid as a quarterback is bad body language. So I think as a quarterback, and you have to get comfortable with this if you're going to play the position, everybody is looking at you, all eyes are on you, and if you don't like that, this position is probably not for you. So why I say avoid bad body language is that nobody's going to follow somebody who's like not sure of themselves, right? So let's say you throw a bad pass and your shoulders slouch, you put your head down. That shows that you really don't have confidence in your own ability to be able to solve that problem or solve the mistake that you just made. So I throw a pick and I'm just pissed, I'm down on myself, I'm sad. Like, yeah, you want to be mad, but you can't show it. You can't show that because your other teammates are going to see that. They're not going to trust you as a leader and they're not going to want to follow you because as a quarterback, you are automatically in a leadership position. So you make a mistake, have a good attitude, keep the same body language, and be focused on how you can improve that mistake, not get super down on yourself. Because if you have that attitude, like, hey, everything's going to be okay, other players are going to rally around that, and that's how you can motivate a group of guys in a locker room. Now, the next thing you want to avoid as a quarterback is a mechanical aspect of the position, and this is going to help with you guys throwing a consistent spiral. A lot of quarterbacks don't realize they do this, but when they throw and they take the football back, the nose of the football is pointed almost up towards the sky. And guys will do that, you know, because they're trying to get their elbow up, because when you throw, you want your elbow to be about even with your shoulder. But if that nose of the football is up, when you go to rotate through, that can cause your wrist to break, and that ball can spin almost in that like up and down fashion, if you will. So guys, when we go back with the ball, you want to control the nose. The nose should be either pointed like straight behind you or slightly down. So when you throw, you can keep a stable wrist position, and that stable wrist will help you snap and actually get a tight, clean spiral. Now, if you're a quarterback, fellas, and you guys would like to train with us this off season, check out that very first link in the description below. We are going to be coming out to 15 different cities across the entire US for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver camps. So guys, we're going to be coming out to San Francisco, California, Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Charlotte, North Carolina, Austin, Texas. Then we'll be heading out to Las Vegas, Nevada, Seattle, Washington, Chicago, Illinois, Newark, New Jersey, Birmingham, Alabama, Houston, Texas. Then we'll be coming out to Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, and finishing it off in Los Angeles, California. So guys, for 2 days, every single state that we go to, it's a 2-day-long camp. So we'd love to have you in attendance. Check out that very first link in the description below to sign up. Let's get back to this video. Now, the next thing you want to avoid as a quarterback mechanically is pushing off of your back foot to create your front stride. Guys, quarterbacks generate power by hip rotation and weight transfer, but it's about your hips and the weight transfer coming through before your shoulders and before the football. So what I mean by that is that if you're a quarterback and you're trying to generate some power and you push your weight forward and your back leg looks like this when your front foot gets down, the issue is that your shoulders cannot separate from your lower body. They call that hip and shoulder dissociation. So when you're like this, you're throwing essentially all arm because your back hip and back leg are left behind. You want to push and transfer your weight, but that happens after the stride. You want to take a stride to the target, but you maintain weight on your back leg, kind of like a baseball swing. So when you go back with your shoulders can be behind your front stride, and when you decide to push, your hip goes through before your shoulders, and that creates more power and more of a whip on the ball. So do not push for your stride, you step and then push in your throw. And the next thing you want to avoid as a quarterback is being on the inside arch of your back foot when you're in your base when you throw. I think a lot of QBs are on this inside arch because they were taught to push off that inside arch, but guys, when you're on the inside arch of your foot, you have a natural knee cave inward. So the issue is that when you take a step, even if it's a short step, even if you're trying to keep your weight back like we mentioned, your weight tends to shift forward, which prevents shoulder rotation, and you finish here. So where you want to be, you guys, is you don't want to be on the inside arch, you want to be on the outside arch. Try to keep your shin completely straight because that will allow you to keep your feet inside your frame. You don't have a knee cave. You could step, and when you don't have that knee cave, it's easier for you to rotate through and get your hips to fly through before your shoulders and before that ball. Now, the next thing you want to avoid is a level shoulder plane when throwing with touch. I think a lot of QBs, when they have to throw like a touch ball, we call that a 2-ball, right? There's 3 types of throws. You have a 1-ball on a line, 2-ball where you drop it in, and then a 3-ball, which is like a deep shot. When throwing a 2-ball, guys, you need to arc of your shoulders. You should arch your shoulders at probably about like a 45-degree angle, but a lot of QBs stay level and they try to throw a touch and they push the ball, and that's why that nose of the ball kind of fades outward, goes up, and it doesn't actually turn over. So guys, when we're in our base to throw with some touch, Give me a slight tilt. You start your throwing sequence at a higher trajectory, and when you release the ball, you snap your wrist like you're grabbing something off the top shelf or you're shooting a free throw to get that ball to drop over the top. Now, the next thing you want to avoid is scoping your shoulders on the run. So let's say I'm rolling out to the left side of the field over here, and I have a target like a 10-yard out that I'm trying to hit. If I'm rolling out, I don't want to load up my shoulder and chop my feet and run at the target, because all that's going to cause me to do when I throw on the run is that when you're on the run, you step with your non-throwing side foot at the target. So I'm in the pocket, I step with my left foot. I'm on the run, I step with my right foot, and then my left foot kicks through so I can maintain that momentum going to the target. So if you're rolling out and you scope and then you step with your right foot, your shoulders have already rotated. So what's going to happen is that this front side is going to open up and your shoulders and your hips are opening at the same time, preventing that concept of torque or that upper body and lower body dissociation like we talked about earlier in this video. So guys, when you're on the run, keep your shoulders parallel to the target, and you want to rotate your shoulders as you separate your hands and as that front foot steps. So now my shoulders are back, my hips are going forward, I feel that stretch on the side of my body, which is called torque, or that's going to produce torque, and then that ball can shoot through. So do not scope your shoulders while you are on the run. Now, the next thing you want to avoid as a QB, and this is honestly if your coach doesn't mind, that is a crossover drop. So traditionally, what's the drop that everybody takes as a QB? We take a 3-step drop, we take a 5-step drop where your feet are crossing over. Me personally, you guys, see a lot of NFL quarterbacks do this, a lot of college programs. If I was teaching a QB and let's say his coach doesn't care, I would teach him a shuffle drop. So that's where you catch the snap and you just slide or shuffle into the drop. You're already in your base and you could just deal and throw. If you have to throw a deeper pass, you could just go a simple shuffle, hitch, and I feel like your feet are more under control, your base is more under control, and you could get the ball out of your hands faster. You don't always have to take a 3-step drop. Now I say that, but if you're in a program or on a team where the coach is very picky about your footwork, like you've got to take a 3, you have to take a 5, don't listen to what I just said. But I recommend trying that shuffle. If you can get comfortable just shuffling into your throws, I feel like you'll be a more consistent passer, as that can help you get to that correct base more efficiently. Now, the next thing you want to avoid as a QB is being a thermometer leader. So what does that mean? There's 2 types of leaders. You have a thermometer leader or a thermostat leader. So think about what each one of those things does. Thermometer will tell you the temperature of the room. A thermostat, you set the temperature of the room. So if you're just that guy that gets into an environment, maybe you're on a new team, maybe you're a freshman, whatever, and you're just kind of like look around and you want to be like everybody else, that's not what a quarterback needs to do, you guys. What a quarterback needs to do is you need to set the tone. You need to go into an environment and be focused on your game, focused on your craft, and showing to these guys, leading by example, how things should be. And that comes from your work ethic in the gym and the classroom, knowing your playbook and your work ethic on the field. So if you could do all those things correctly, that's how you elevate everybody's game. And you should not be looking over your shoulder worried about what everybody else does. Focus on your game and how you can improve your craft and the team's ultimate ability.